Just don't call me how to hold me. Let's be homies, please don't call me for punani. Don't call me for punani. Just don't call me how to hold me. Let's be homies, please don't call me for punani. Hey.
Beat it up like.
Work that. Baby, work, baby, work that.
Baby, you're doing it wrong. Do-do-do. It shouldn't take you this far. Do-do-do. Baby, just don't know me. How to own me. Let's be on me. Please don't call me for punani. Just don't.
Beat it up like. Beat it up like. Beat it up.
You should probably go to down, 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 go to down.
Baby, work that. Baby, baby, work that. Baby, work, baby, work that. Baby, work, baby, work that.
Just don't call me for punani. Don't call me for punani. Just don't call me for punani. Just don't call me for punani. Just don't call me how to hold me. Let's be homies, please don't call me for punani. Don't call me for punani. Just don't call me how to hold me. Let's be homies, please don't call me for punani. Don't call me for punani. Just don't.
Hey Black woman, hey, welcome to the BlackWomanVibes podcast. I am your hostess with the mostest. So let's get to toasting. VCNA. If this is your first time joining the BlackWomanVibes podcast, here is our mission statement. BlackWomanVibes focuses on empowerment through resourceful, informative guests, data-driven podcast topics, and exclusive subscription services that promote a shared experience of Black woman vibes. On today's podcast episode, we'll be discussing and continuing our 3-part series, which is the Triple Goddess Maiden Mother Crone. Last week we focused on the maiden portion. This week we'll be focused on the mother portion, and in the mother we'll be talking about what it means to be a mother, and not necessarily a mother to humans, but what to birth, what are our creativity, what is our legacy, and what is the purpose of us creating in the first place. And again, this is a video that has been transformed into audio, so you will hear me reference video as opposed to podcast, but nonetheless it's the same great material. So hopefully y'all enjoy, y'all get the creams and the gems of this podcast episode. So I'm not going to hold you too long with this intro. Let's jump right into this podcast episode. Enjoy.
We're not back with another installment of Alyssa's series, The Maiden Mother Crone. The last time we was up in this thing and doing a live reaction, we did the maiden. So the innocent, the young, the Britney, the fertile, wet behind the ears, young dumb and full of and how that's exploited. And in part 2, we're going to talk about the mother and how she's exploited. And then in part 3, we're going to talk about how the crone, why she a bad bitch and everybody hate her because she a bad bitch. But we're only on part 2, and that's what we're going to focus on. Again, I love the series. I watched all 3 episodes or parts. The Maiden Mother Crone. I suggest y'all watch the whole video yourselves. And she makes great content, and it's all about women empowerment. So we win. And I'm gonna stop talking so we can just jump right into things.
We live life according to the triple goddess, the maiden, mother, and crone. First, we are the maiden, which we consider the icing on the cake of womanhood, the adornments, Venus, Aphrodite. As a young child, we're
A little bit. Doesn't have to do with the reaction, but I did do a spiritual hour. I want to say part 11, where there was a question someone asked about putting their kids into beauty pageants, and I was like offered like nah, but the cards actually validated and said it nah. And it's interesting that I'm doing this reaction in regards to the exploitation of young girls, young girlhood, and the clips of the girls are appearing. It's like when the divine say something, she don't say it just to say it, and that's on period.
trying to figure out, how do we become women? How do we grow up? And so
another person asked about stepping into her empress energy. It's like so many women and girls are lost in like what it means to be a woman. And I don't know if there was, I didn't experience it, but is there a rite of passage for girls? And like, why isn't that more highlighted? And why isn't there if there isn't? Because we have the boys, they got mazel tov. Ooh, child, let me not get canceled. We have bar mitzvahs for the boys and other rites of passages, but girls, it's kind of like flat chested and then full blown whore. Like there's no like gradual acceptance and like guidance and love and support and security from girlhood all the way into womanhood. And then until she's comfortable in her womanhood, because just because you turn 18 does not mean that you are wise beyond your years. You are still dumb. No offense. So you need someone to help you bridge that adulting and womanhood, at least until you're in your mid-20s where your brain is fully formatted and then like your adulting kind of evens out. But I don't really think we have that for girls. And it's tragic that we don't. Because a lot of mothers aren't mothers.
wear
They're damn near
femininity like a warm hug. And we've showed you in the last video how that's exploited by this control and power in our culture of wicked, evil men. Today we're going to be talking about the mother and how she's being hurt and destroyed. The moon, the biggest light in the night sky. The cycles of our emotional nature, our nurture, our love, our sexuality, our bodies, our fertility, and the reason why we live and our purpose here on earth. That knowledge that we can only gain through time. Because you see, life in the woman only exists because of time. Because outside of time and space, we do not exist in the physical flesh on earth with our ability to create, with our bodies, with our hands, with our consciousness. You see, time
is an illusion. Time is an illusion. Like, the only reason we can measure time is because we put limitations on time. But like, if we didn't have a way to measure time or consume time, then how could you tell the difference between 1 minute and 5 minutes? It's just time. But because we can count, okay, within this period, 60 seconds equates to 1 minute. 60 seconds consecutively is 5 minutes. But if there was no way to measure that, or a system that we all agree to, this is how we measure time, then time, it just is. It's infinite. There is no losing or gaining. It just is. Because we live in a system of thing that everything has to be automated and conformed and compact, that we are chasing this thing which in the grand scheme of things doesn't really even exist.
Defines the woman. It is exactly time that is used against the woman by evil men. And this has been...
Ain't that right, Black Sector? You've hit the wall. Nobody wants you. You're a single mother. Right? Time. Meanwhile, these niggas got full-blown beer bellies at 16. Dad bods at 22. But you're 25. You're not wiped up. You've hit the wall.
And this has been going on for a very long time because our society has gotten so progressed. We've gotten into a place of forced regression, the forced killing of life. The earth feels it. Women feel it. The feminine side of man
setting
feels
California
it.
on fire.
But this is what is happening to
periodically
women in our
every
culture
year.
as a whole and women around the world. So today we're going to talk about the mother and how we marry the mother and what that looks like.
Also, this is just my assumption. There's no real backing on what I'm saying. But I feel like the most daring women and like women who define their own womanhood and femininity are the women who have a lot of Venus in their chart, whether it's Libra, whether it's Taurus, but they have it in particular placements that really shine. I think a lot of women who are badass in their own lane, they don't got to be a Beyonce, they don't have to be a Cleopatra, they don't have to be any of these, I guess you could say, lots in life or slots or positions or whatever roles, because they're already taken, but in their own right, whatever they do. I feel like a lot of women who are those women that we will remember are women who have Venus in their chart in the places that matter. Like their sun, their moon, their rising, their Venus as their Venus. Like, so needless to say, I think women who are rememberable have Venus in very interesting placements.
Reception of my last video, YouTube did demonetize it and did try to suppress it, even though it was getting an active amount of engagement. And what I'm saying, I guess, is not something that YouTube or Google wants to be said, and that's sort of frustrating for me, but I do know that word of mouth also gets this across. So if there's something that you feel resonates with you, if you would help share it so that the message is not lost.
YouTube would do some fuck shit like this, would block this, but people roasting, gagging, commenting, making investigative, forensic analyst, lawyer breakdowns on men getting shot in the foot. Oh, that can trend. That's not getting pulled down.
First, let's discuss how our society grows up the maiden to become the mother and how that looks. Now, there's almost two separate sides to this. In my last video, I talked a lot about exploitation of the maiden and what that does and how that traumatizes her in her later years. How exploitation of the maiden also makes women very, very fearful of growing old, because that's all we've got. All we've got is our beauty, is our youth.
That's why you got chicks who are like 40, 50 years old. I'm loving hip hop with those fake big hydrogel asses talking all this da-da-da shit, and it's just like, ma'am, you're somebody's whole ass grain. Like, what are you doing? Women who rather look like cat face and to accept that they have wrinkles. Like, women in general fear getting old because it's like, when you get old, you don't exist. As women, when you get old, you don't exist. Like, let's think about it. Even old girl, Nicole Ari Parker, old girl from Soul Food, right? Terry, I believe that was her character's name. Did she say that with her husband, Kojo? that she's looking for inspiration, she's looking for sensuality, she's looking for to be loved, to be desired. Because as women, whether we are 85 or 18, we still want to be fucking desired. And she's just kind of like, yeah, you're doing what you're supposed to do. Like, yeah, the bills are paid, and yeah, you're not whooping my ass, and our kids are healthy and balanced. But like, there is no passion. You don't see me as the woman who you desire, the woman that you love, the woman that you're passionate about. You see me as your wife. You see me as the mother of your kids. But you don't see me as like that, not only hot piece of ass before the marriage, before the kids, but also like your own person. Not how I position myself in your life. If that makes sense. Like, I am who I am with or without you. I am who I am without the role of being mother, without the role of being your wife. Like, I am my own individual person outside of how I fit into your male gaze or into your life. And she was trying to express it without the words, but a lot of people didn't want to hear it because y'all don't like black women, as well as y'all were purposely obtuse just to be purposely obtuse. What she was saying was, you don't see me as a woman. You see me as a mother and a wife. And yes, those are women who play those roles, but they're asexual. You don't desire them. You don't see any passion in them. You're not excited about them. You don't romance them. You don't. It's just kind of like, hi, Mrs. Na-na-na. You're not, oh, wow, Mrs. Da-da-da. Like, ooh, you're not that anymore. And you don't necessarily want it from other men, like on some Aisha Curry shit. You want it from your husband. Because once he looks at you as just the wife, that's when he wants that hot piece of ass down the street. And there's something about men. Once they have you, they discard you on some level, whether it's emotionally, passionately. It's just like, I got the chase. I got the reward. Now it's just like, yeah, it's not that interesting. I rather like the chase. And then where does that leave women? Chasing the male gaze. Like, addictively chasing the male gaze. That's why you get the ass done, the 15-pound makeup, the Botox, the X, Y, and Z, just to try to present yourself as more youthful. But at the end of the day, you can't reverse the hand of time, as well as, like, even if you could get a body rejuvenation, you look like an 18-year-old. He could still pipe another 18-year-old. Like, it's just, he's just gonna do what he wants to do. And I think that's what a lot of women ultimately learn, and they become very saddened by, because it's like, yeah, I won the man, I got the man, but at what expense? And oftentimes it comes at the expense of your authenticity, your autonomy, and like your happiness. So, was it worth it?
Is our sex appeal, our hotness that men love. They love us younger and younger, with less
like
of a
that
brain,
Netflix series with
less of a
low-ass
body,
girls.
less wisdom, and less power.
That's power.
I grew up on a religious side of this, but I was still exploited and protected at the same time. You see,
yeah, interesting, because I was raised as a Jehovah's Witness. Don't do that shit no more. They didn't even do that shit when I was younger. I had to do that shit because anyways, it's weird in a religious religious place, because it's like, it's so Stepford Wife where everybody's pretending to be something that they're not, and putting on airs and shit. And it looks good on the outside. It sounds good on the outside. But when you're in the thick of it, and church folks, congregation folks, whatever folks they call themselves, they stay gossiping. And oftentimes when you're in the gossip, or you hear the gossip, you realize that y'all not so godly. And you also realize that y'all ain't shit, like non-godly people. But the same people who tell you that they are of God and they're above this and a third, you find do the ugliest things behind closed doors. As well as a lot of religious folks tend to be willfully obtuse, very infantile in the way that they maneuver in the world, as well as narrow-minded and emotionally immature. And you find a lot of this in religious spaces.
You see, when I talked about Brooke Shields in my last video, I mentioned that the judge told Brooke Shields' mother that she was both protective and exploitative of her daughter at the same time. And I feel and felt after reading that was pretty much...
Especially for the fact that PSA, there's a lot of stories about corruption within the Jehovah's Witnesses. I can speak about it because I was part of that for like a brief moment. As well as a lot of cult-like shit. Especially when you get excommunicated, the bullying tactics that I've heard, as well as there's a lot of sexual abuse on some Catholic church shit that gets swept under the rug because under the elder's eye. So there's that.
Much accurate for every little girl growing up, no matter how or where they did. See, when I was in church in 6th grade, a woman came in to describe female sexuality and why we should remain abstinent. She had a gift, a box with wrapping paper and a bow on top. And she began to say that we are this gift. These young women are this gift. And then they want to open up this gift. Because in 6th grade, it's really important to know that boys are thinking about fucking us, right?
Plot twist, like, the vagina is literally a hole. So, like, a hole never closes. Therefore, the gift is all... We're not even going to do that. Fuck patriarchy. That's the point.
All I knew about a boy was that they were cute or that they had cooties. But anyway, we were a gift. The first time you ever hold hands with a boy, that's like shaking up that gift, you know? Look at the wrapping paper's a little bit messed up. But then say you want to kiss.
But like, when we're in kindergarten, were we all holding hands to go and leave places? So was you already shaking the box at kindergarten? Like, do y'all think about the dumb shit that you say before you fucking say these shits? I would be damned if I sent my kid over to anybody, tell them anything that my ass could tell them. And then they come back talking about, I can't hold your hand because it's a special gift and this and that. I'm feeling file a lawsuit. Like, don't tell my kid this.
Kiss. You give your first kiss. That's like taking the bow off.
And taking the bow off. Don't a lot of y'all kiss your kids in the mouth? I don't. Me and my mother and my family members, we don't do that. But a lot of y'all do that. Is that, see, there's that slippery slope when you say dumb shit. There's that slippery slope.
Have you tried to put that bow back on? It's just not as beautiful as it used to be. And then say, what
not necessarily.
Well, that would be unwrapping the present.
I'm really gonna shut the fuck this. Y'all know they got those, because we millennials, we don't want to do nothing that's gonna take too much time. We zooming in this bitch. There are bow ties that all you gotta do is rip the sticky side off and plop that bitch back on the package and you keep that shit rolling. No one's really doing all that fancy tying the bow and all this other shit. No. We're peeling the sticky side, we're stamping it on the motherfucking box, and we sending that shit to Amazon. Like, what do you mean?
Unwrapping the present. And if you could see now, if you unwrap this present completely, in which she did unwrap the present, you would see that it's impossible to put it on the same way, and that gift, which was once beautiful, is no longer. Now, this was very traumatizing to me growing up.
What about men's or boys' gifts? They don't got no gifts? But the thing about it, when you say dumb shit like this is how you get boys and men treating their penises like plastic bags blown in the wind, just all up in the street, dirty. But then we're supposed to keep our lady parts so clean and so tight and so untouched, but they seek to rape and pillage and put it anywhere and everywhere, and the more you get, the better it is, and F feeling. So like, you're teaching girls one thing and you're teaching boys another thing, and you wonder why there's just this disconnect. And then on top of that, when the boys get to be boys and they fool out line and fucking everything, who do you think they fucking? Each other? there's someone's daughter whose gift is getting rattled up and taken apart and whatever the fuck else you're teaching these girls.
Feeling like a gift. Also knowing that my parents, since they were super strict with me, I wasn't allowed to date till I was 16 because otherwise that would put me into temptation territory.
Ooh.
I wasn't even talked to about my own burgeoning sexuality. I was completely sheltered from understanding.
Me too.
The first glimpse of sexuality I had was when I walked by a room of adults watching a movie and they were strippers. And I was like, one day I would like to have boobs like that and have men gawk at me. And that's really something that hit me. I desired love and a handheld and a rose
And
and
I think
a kiss.
women and girls, particularly girls, are just indoctrinated with that. Whether we're talking about the Disney princesses or whatever, you want to be desired. Like, that's the message throughout the theme of a woman's life, from girlhood to womanhood. You want to be desired, and nothing says being more desired than the male gaze. So, of course, at your little young ass age, you would see like, oh, the guys really like her, and like that matters, so I need to be really liked too. And you're not the only one. Like, I remember when I was a little ass girl and I used to go to babysitter's house, we used to do this thing. I don't know if y'all do this anymore, but I remember us 90s babies. We used to do this thing where we had a regular ass shirt, right? Regular ass t-shirt. And then we would take the bottom of the t-shirt, so like where it hits, like, I don't know, like your what would be considered your fupa area, like that part of the shirt. You pull it up and then you put it inside the shirt, and then it'd be like a little halter thingy. So like we've always kind of like indoctrinated girls with chasing the boy gaze, chasing the male gaze, and we've normalized that to be a staple part of being a girl and being a woman. Like, when you're a girl, you want to be liked, but then when you become that teenager woman stage of your life, now it's like exercise what you've been taught, and it's like none of that benefits women or girls in the least bit. It just keeps you jumping through hoops like a trained poodle for the male gaze. And again, these are the same men who don't value their own genitalia like as a package. They just seek to put it anywhere. And when I say anywhere, I mean anywhere.
So much, but I wasn't allowed to have that, and neither was I pretty enough to have that, apparently, because I didn't date in high school, even if I wanted to go against my parents' will. The most interesting thing about protecting and sheltering, which is very different from protecting, from sheltering a woman from her own sexuality and telling her that by giving it up, she's ruining.
Yes, I'll even do better than that. Sheltering a girl from her sexuality makes her repulse her womanhood. And you see this with Black women and girls all the time, right? You grow up in the Blackistani ass community. They beat religion into your motherfucking head. They tell you everything about you is demonic, is evil, is sexually enticing. Then you start to develop, you get little mosquito bumps, and they tell you that you're fat, the boys like you need to cover up, this, that, and the third. You end up pregnant as a teen mom, you're a whore, you're ruined, no one wants you, you hit the wall. Like, it's all the exploitation of young girlhood, and it makes you fearful of your body. It makes you fearful of developing and growing up, because there's something inherently bad about having budding breasts. There's something inherently bad about your hips spreading. There's something inherently bad about you becoming a woman, because once you become a woman, then you're for the taking, and you don't want to be devoured by the big bad gift unwrapper. So you want to minimize yourself. You want to cover your breast. And not saying that you need to expose it, but like you're wearing a turtleneck and it's 90 degrees out. You want to conform to the male gaze. So like, yeah, women who express themselves, they're slutty, they're evil, they're Jezebels. And you're good. You're demure. You're polished. And it creates this me versus them energy with other women, but it also puts you in an offset position with men, because you'll always be underneath them and you'll always be used as a tool. And what good does that do for girls and women? It doesn't.
Her own God-given beauty is, one, disgusting, and two, very common. But at the same time,
like, let's be honest, how many grown-ass women can tell you their genitalia by name? Like, there's some grown-ass women who will call their vulva a vagina. Like, there's grown-ass women that don't know. Like, there's multiple parts to the female anatomy besides the whole. Like, there's women who don't know that. There's women who don't know their anatomy. Like, I remember growing up and stumbling upon my mama. She had a French book about biology, female biology. She had it. It was kind of like a dictionary of sorts, and it was in French. And she still has it. And I'm pretty sure from time to time she will look through it. And it's not like it's a bad thing, but it's like that religious fear of exploring your body, about a woman having her autonomy, a woman positioning herself, like that's just inherently evil. But then again, ain't that what your Bible said? Eve, with all her feminine wildness, she was naked, the titties were out, and she tempted Adam, and then they ate the fruit, and then the whole humanity is in a tailspin because of the Jezebel whore with all her titties and all her femininity. She's able to spin the man into being illogical, because you know men, they're the most logical creatures. That's why we have war, right? So women with all their stealthy, snaky energy, defiled the man, took advantage of the man, tempting the man, because he's flesh for the weak. And then that belief has just seeped into every aspect of society. And it shows.
Time that this was happening, my mother, who lived a very opposite childhood of mine, where she was molested by many different people as a child. I don't know how young I was when I learned about that. I have no memories of not knowing.
And that's not uncommon. It's usually, when it comes to sexual assault, it's like, obviously people present themselves differently, but it's usually like two extremes. It's like, I never want to have sex. I never want to take off my clothes. I never want intimacy. I never want anything because like my body has been like tainted and I just want to keep it to myself because I'm the only one who can protect me. And then on the other side of the spectrum, it's like, Viva loca, I'm a hot girl, ass out, titty out, Courtney Love, who gonna check me, And a lot of people think like, oh, it's because you're a whore, because you deserve it. But it's really on some like, kind of like, not necessarily revenge, but like trying to regain power. So it's like, I will never let nobody F me. I will never let anybody take away from me. Like, I get to call the shots. I get to choose who I want to sleep with because no one is going to take advantage of me. And that's the sad reality for a lot of women and girls who've been sexually assaulted.
That my mother was molested as a child, and that boys will be boys. And
then, like, religion just, like, highlights and exploits it.
And they will hurt women. They will hurt little girls. My mom moved my room and made me share with my younger sister because my room was next to my brother. And as we were aging, she was worried his friends would come over and molest me. I
know a story of parents who don't even allow their teenage boys and their, like, their younger sister or just maybe even the same age, have too much FaceTime with each other because in their minds they think that, oh no, if you get too comfortable, y'all might be some flowers in the attic type shit. When in reality it's them playing their own trauma because like siblings can be like two peas in a pod and nothing in them says like I want to cross it into romantic. I also know in foreign cultures that the women don't allow their babies, but specifically their daughters, to be changed by men, even their father, because they worry that something might happen if they're not there. If you can't, why would you breed for someone that you can't trust with their own kid? Like, this shit is insanity. Like, why would you give a person the gift of legacy, the gift of future, if you think they might do that? And yes, you never really know a person. And yes, people might have some shadow side elements, but it's really, really hard to keep your deviancy, especially when you're in somebody else's face. So for me, I would say that's just a crazy position to be in, as well as if you think this way, you should go to therapy and unwork the baggage. But if you have a legitimate claim why you would think that way, you need to divorce this man. Period.
I heard all the horror stories about being kidnapped in stranger danger.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
also,
did too.
because my mother was so traumatized from her own youth, she used corporal punishment on her children. If I did one thing wrong, she would give me no choices, count to 3.
You got no choices, count to 3. I'll do you better. And y'all Haitians will feel me on this. Y'all know Mondoos come out with the senti one, comes out with the péché, comes out with the à genoux, which are all forms of corporal punishment that's very cruel. But yeah.
And then go make me wait in the bathroom to think about what I've done for 10 minutes, sometimes half an hour. When she came in, I would apologize, be crying, and she would still spank me with a ruler as many times as she decided.
Well, this is not really my story to tell, but I'm just going to leave blanks in there. I knew a man whose mother used to viciously beat him until he peed on himself. I also know the same man, after his mother wildly beat on him to the point that he bled, he had, because, religion, patriarchy ain't shit. After she whooped the soul out this man when he was a child, she would make him kiss the floor in a crucifix type of situation. She'd have him kiss the floor in a T or X pattern to show his mercy and his sincerity. Like I said, a lot of these mothers don't need to be mothers.
I was told simultaneously to protect my body, but at the same time, obey the commands of authority. My story might be a little bit different than other people's story. When I acted out, my mom would hit me as I got older. I would get severely grounded for any act of rebellion. I would have things that I bought with my own money taken away when I got a job and I thought I was free just because I lived under my parents' house. You see, we're taught in whatever way society might teach us, or our parents, or whatever trauma we go through. As girls, we are taught all anyone wants from you is sex, so you don't be sexual. But also obey authority.
And authority
so you
is
know
men.
That the man is authority.
Give the man what he wants. Don't give the man what he wants. But if you do give the man what he wants, make sure that he's a good man. But if he's not a good man, then you're a bad woman. But then you can get saved if you go to church. But then again, church, it never ends. It never ends.
Authoritative. That someone older than you is authoritative, and they come to you and ask you for pieces of your body. You have to give them to them. You're so trained that
you want to be liked.
Can't say no.
You want to be loved.
And then you're also trained that it's your fault, that you're the one who is now an unwrapped present. And while the same thing is happening, I'm seeing how my emotions are making...
How many packages did T.I. unwrap? But don't unwrap Deja's now. Don't unwrap Deja's. But how many Deja's did he unwrap to other black men's daughters? How many of those packages, and you a nigga from ATL, so you didn't just unwrap it ever so gently. You did that. Even to your wife, who you stay cheating on, is she less valuable because she let you hit that on the regular?
making me crazy, and having the people around me asking me if I need to go on meds or be checked into a hospital before I'm even 16 years old. And if it wasn't happening to me, it's happening around you. You're seeing it in your own mothers. And so as you grow, you begin to be like, I need to
Or like, even better, I don't know when in my childhood when girls started like really vying for the attention of boys, but when it happened, it was kind of like a pandemic. It was like the majority of girls all of a sudden couldn't even think, function, be without the presence of a little snot-nosed boys. And I'm telling you, there was ain't shit then, and they didn't care. And then like the rumors, the gossip, who done did what with whom, all of that spilled out into the school hallway. And it didn't matter. It was like, 1 minute you're cool, the next minute you're not cool. 1 minute you're dragged, 1 minute you're praised. And thank God, thank God, during those days, there was no such thing as social media besides MySpace. And we did not have a camera on demand. Because honestly, we all go through our phases in life. We all do some young, dumb, wild shit. But thank God I was a part of the last generation where we actually didn't want to put our young, dumb shit on camera. And even if we wanted to, we didn't have access to doing it. In this day and age, your shit follows you forever.
Shut down these emotions. They're crazy. I need to suppress myself. I need to stop listening to my instincts because apparently they're wrong. Because apparently every time I have an instinct of fear or an instinct to do something, I am immediately told it's wrong and then punished for it.
Mm-hmm.
So why on earth would I go through my life any other way?
Question. I've heard stories about women who were young, like let's say they were 17, 16, 15, 14, whatever, and they got pregnant and they told their parents, and their parents reacted wildly savagery, even to the point of beating them while they are pregnant. But you ever hear stories about that with men or young boys where they tell their family, like, hey, I got somebody pregnant? Do you ever hear gruesome stories of somebody getting their ass beat, that they are ridiculed into pieces, that they are put out into the homeless shelter? Like, y'all hear them stories when these young men and these grown men tell their families, like, I'm feeling to be a baby daddy? Or is that an experience exclusively to women? Let me know.
And when I was sexually assaulted when I was 20, I felt in my drunken state that I should let him and that I shouldn't fight because I don't know what's right for me. I don't know what's good. We are...
And then on top of that, it's power, right? You're drunk. This person's in your face, in your space. They're trying to take control over you. They already are in a position of power because they're on top of you. Do you fight this and make this experience a lot more harmful, hurtful, painful? Or do you just let him because he's already on top? And I know there's going to be some deranged person who's like, well, you wanted it or you allowed it. But for everybody else who has more than 2 brain cells, you understand that's coercion, as well as like, he's a full-blown man and you're a full-blown woman and he's on top of you, he's taking advantage. So where are you going to get this Hercules strength out of nowhere to flip him over, put him on his knees and call 911? Like, but there's somebody who's going to hear in this explanation victim blaming. Someone's going to hear that it was the woman's fault.
As girls, as the maiden,
and those are the men who you need to stay away from, and the women you need to stay away from too.
My mother was very emotionally manipulative too, because she herself learned over time that women are not enough. You see, we're not. If we rely on our own instincts, we do the wrong things. So we need someone to put us into balance. Mm-hmm. And as we get into our mood years, we should be expressing our emotions where we hold the Gaia codes. where we should be nurturing ourselves and sharing our lives and using our God-given brain. We are traumatized that we are not enough, that we need a crutch. We need somebody to tell us what to do because everything we do punishes us. And so when we get into those moon years, that motherhood years, we're already set up to lose ourselves to someone else and feel that we need someone else. That's why being single is so hard. We desire
enjoy your own company. Like I said in one of my Megan videos, the dark side of being nice or too critical. Megan's trying to avoid the feelings of abandonment and hurt and loss because she has literally no family by being a hot girl. But being a hot girl is how she got her ass got. A lot of y'all can't sit with yourself and sit in your own energy and in your own company because you don't know yourself. Like, you know the roles that you play, but you don't know yourself when no one is around, when there's no audience.
love, of course, but it's deeper than that. And so I wonder why my mother, who is very obviously not born to be a mother, told me throughout her life
Mine neither.
that's all she ever wanted to be. I wanted to explore that part with you now. Part 2, the abuse of the mother. In any living being or organism, animal, or human, we exist within time. Time holds us. And so the number one thing that any one of these living primitive beings would desire is to take time and elongate it. So when we know instinctually that the habitat is good, we will reproduce. And we will reproduce to pass on our knowledge down our family line. We will plant the roots, sow the seed, and let our history be told through our bloodline.
And we see this even on a grander scale, just taking it out of just women and womanhood. When everything all good, we want to eat, we want to spend, we want to food la la. Like, we're not thinking about reserves. We're not thinking about saving for later. We're not thinking about penny pinching because money good, life's good, you know, food la la. Is when times get rough, like now, that you're seeing those who were able to get in abundance, but also save a little bit of something. And those who are posturing as if they had it like that, and then during these times we realize they didn't have it like that. But even in societies, like when it's good, it's really like for the boomers, like it was booming, boomers. But for the millennials, it's not. So we know instinctively, like when it's time to like relax and have a good time, versus when we need to be like, no, we gotta get focused. Like, nah, what we gotta do, we gotta get some order.
But what happens if the world, the land that we are in, is uninhabitable? We will instinctually understand our own meaning for time, and we will choose immortality over reproduction. What if we're in a world that is so uninhabitable right now that women are instinctually wanting is to choose immortality over?
I think on even like on a genetic code level, on some deep level, past the subconscious, on a like a DNA primitive level, women know better, right? Like globally, women have decreased in I don't want to say production, like procreating, maybe not procreating, but having children. Globally, women are having a lot less children, like, yes, because of industrialization, and like, yes, you don't need like 15 kids in the field, but also women are realizing like the financial burden, the emotional burden is too much. And I can't even give to one kid, never mind 5, and I can't upkeep 5 kids, not in this economy. So women are pulling back, but within that pulling back, which to a degree you could say is a retrograde, you don't want to be obsolete either. So you want to extend your 15 minutes of youth. You want to extend your girlhood. You want to be a hot girl even when you're 40. Like, you don't want to become an adult. You want to be a perpetual Peter Pan. You want to be a perpetual girl. You want to be coddled. You want to never grow up, because growing up would mean to be an adult, and to be an adult means that you have to make these hard decisions, that you have to box yourself in, and you can't live in abundance, that you have to repeal yourself. You have to ride the wave of this current climate of what is life. And because it's such a hard reality, that's why women are always trying to push off their girlhood. And I think that's why many women are either opting to not have children, have a lot less children, or try to be 16 for the next 80 years. Because on a genetic level, we know this current state is not conducive to the feminine energy. And I think what our way of presenting in the world is very much retrograde, and the retrograde presents as not having kids, having too many kids, or having just a smaller amount of kids, or trying to be a girl forever. Like back not too long ago, women really wanted to be the wise woman because they wanted to have the knowledge, they wanted to have the guidance, they wanted to be a whole bad bitch in the street. But now they're witches, they're evil, they're bitter, they're haggard, and now women want to be 15 for the rest of their lives. And that's twisted. Not only is it not possible because of time, but also, again, you haven't gotten away from chasing the male gaze, and you're still stuck. You're still scared of your femininity. And girls don't have femininity. Girls don't have femininity. They're just girls. And I think a lot of women fear their femininity because it's just not a right climate to be a woman, a whole ass woman standing in your womanhood. So girlhood and trying to keep onto girlhood is just an escapism.
The control and abuse and misuse of power that we do not live in a beautiful, functioning society. And women more closely connected to the earth would understand that this is not a life that we are living for reproduction and for continuing this story.
I'm glad that she said that, because I've said this with men that I've dated in the past, that I'm not really trying to do the whole mommy thing, but if I did, these are the criteria that I would have children under. And if it's less than that, I'm not even slightly interested in having your kid. I've always made it a point. If I'm not 9 of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles, we're not having kids. Like, that's not even a question. Because I know me. I know me very well. I work with children because I actually like children. Even when they piss me off, I actually like children. But I also understand the stress and the responsibility of caring for children. If we live in a climate that's not even conducive for me, I'd be stupid to think it'd be more inclusive and more beneficial for children when we know children are the most disposed group of people on this planet. Whether we're talking about child labor, whether we're talking about sex tourism, and if we really want to get on some deep web shit, dark web shit, even on some like experimentation shit, children are the most discarded group of people, below women, which is not much of a step down. But no matter how much I love children, how much care in the world that I can give to a child, if I'm not right, and if I'm not balanced, and if I'm not resting in my femininity, I'm not going to be a great mother. And a part of, for me, at least for me, to be a good mother, we need to have a certain quality of life that is in abundance. And if that's not it, then there is nothing coming out of my womb. And I'm unapologetic about that. Because you're not going to get my ass got, so I could be a whole single mother, shut the fuck out? I don't think so.
To reproduce. We would choose to immortalize ourselves through using our emotions, through listening to the earth and listening to our instincts and intuition, to build a better society and live 1,000 years. Our legacy for everyone to see, our glory, because we know our time is short and we would like to do whatever we can to make it better. But what of the evil power? The evil power would manipulate the maiden, make her weak, make her believe she needs to reproduce, and she needs to give in to that.
And you fucked either way. You don't have a kid, what's wrong with you? PCOS, endometriosis, rotten eggs, nobody wants you. You have kids. Ooh, are you raising your kids right? That's too many kids. And I don't know how she would do it. You don't win for losing. Like, you can't win for losing. Like, you just can't. And everybody's just in the wombs of women. Everybody just wants to know how we do what we do to control us. But we're scared to figure out what our bodies do, how it do. Because we'd rather sacrifice ourselves for the male gaze, even if the male gaze will be our ultimate demise, which it has been for many, many centuries.
Mothering, nurturing instinct. Otherwise, she's nothing.
Nothing.
The only way to do that is to manipulate us as young children.
Girls.
Otherwise, we will listen to our instincts. So you will tell a woman she is crazy. You will make up this.
And let's talk about coercion pregnancy, where these men will tell you everything that you want to hear, playing all your traumas, that we could be a family, that I could be a father that I never had, that she'll be a great mother, I really want us to be together, I really want us to be a family. Then you give in because you want to make your boyfriend happy, you want to make your fiance, whatever little titles that you have. You don't file taxes together, but whatever. You get all geeked up and semened up. And the closer your due date approaches, the more he has second thoughts. Like, there are so many women who got on that, I want us to be a family, just to end up a single mother. We ain't gonna talk about this in this video, but that's the thing.
Area. You will talk about a woman's natural response system as if it is already a mental illness that needs to be drugged. And then you would kick her out of the man's world. You would lower the pay rate. You wouldn't give her a promotion. You would tell her that, I'm sorry, you're just not as strong as man. Therefore, we don't really have use for you. You're not as intelligent as these men. Oh, you know, women
Too
are
emotional,
always
erratic, right?
a part of
That's
the
why Megan need to go because she's just so aggressive, and she was on Tory, and she's tall, and she's bigger. She was too emotional. She was attacking him, so that's why she needed. But black love.
part of the man, even though women exist without the man. It doesn't matter if you grow up and you decide to take back your sexuality and allow yourself to get into something like sex work. Or if you go the opposite way and become very modest and not allow anyone to see your body because you want them to get to know you, who you are.
Both as if there's not stories of women who did the respectable, modest, he got to know me for who I am and still got played.
Both of these things that are being told to us, modesty versus
church women know this best, but
personal exploitation, are a symptom of our limited, primitive thinking that we only exist because of man. We do not.
Plot twist, women can reproduce themselves. That's why women can have girl children. But women can also have boy children. But what children do men have? They're not even able to reproduce themselves. But we reproduce everybody. But we're chasing the male gaze. As well as the X chromosome is like life. The Y chromosome ain't. That's why women don't have the Y chromosome. As well as the Y chromosome is significantly smaller than the X chromosome. It's also parasitic because it really does nothing for the development of the child. Everything exists with the X. That's why we have mitochondriac DNA, but we have what from men?
that exists because of man. And it's a hard thing to get out of our heads. We're fighting over abortion when abortion is not the problem. The problem is that women instinctually know that they cannot reproduce, but they're still in a manipulative.
Because let's be honest, children are anchors. So when you have a kid by somebody, it doesn't matter if you move to the moon, goddammit, and you set up motherfucking WhatsApp on the moon. You still gonna be tied to that person because you got a fucking kid with that person. And you can never undo a pregnancy like you can undo a marriage. So that person always has ties to you. And that's why it doesn't matter how toxic he is and how much you done moved on with your life with a new husband. He's able to reel your ass in because you have his kid. And this is why it's super important to be very critical about who you lay up with and who you have kids with. Because that might be the thorn in your spine for the rest of your life. So do not take pregnancy or getting pregnant or having babies any type of way that is lightly, because it's not even it. It's not even it. You can always undo a marriage. You cannot undo a kid. Period.
System that makes a woman not understand how important her mission is.
So that's why when women know that this ain't it, and most women who get abortions are actually women who already have kids, so they already know that it's painful and it's tiresome and it's unreciprocal and so on and so forth, so they don't want to do it. Just like I've worked with children, so I know the taxation that comes with working with children. As much as I like them, as much as I think they're cool and they're funny and this and the third, they're draining. They're very much so draining. And to take on that responsibility for at least 18 years, but let's be honest, the rest of your life, on a feeling, on a whim, or on a love, it's not enough. It's not enough.
Without a man. Now, what if the earth understood this, okay? What if the earth was conscious? Because we're conscious and we live on the earth. And what if she was also conscious? What if she started to fight herself?
We say Mother Nature, but we don't
and
take it
mess with the
seriously.
DNA so that it could not carry on reproducing? What if she decided that most women would have infertility issues and men would have erectile dysfunction? What if she would alter our
She's tired of
desire
y'all being
to
parasites.
cancel reproduction? It doesn't seem so far off to think that the woman is being forced into relationships with men to pass on the seed so that the history can continue, and the woman's life will get cut short because all a woman has is time.
So if you would like to show your gratitude via donation, you can always hit me up either on Cash App, $ BlackWomanVibes, or Venmo, BlackWomanVibes, woman with an A, not an E, because it's only me, she, her, we. Now back to your regular scheduled broadcast, and I hope you enjoy.
A woman is much more affected by aging than a man is, because a man doesn't live.
Because a man could be butt from the giddy up, and people are going to be okay with it. But you gain that one extra pound, you a fat ass bitch. That's why no one pressures men into like, why you ain't getting married? Why ain't you ain't got no kids? Like, no one does that. No one does that. A woman, bitch, you 21 and a half. With that ring on, you don't want to hit that wall now. Patriarchy is a whole scam. This shit is a whole scam.
He is not completely connected to the feminine, earthly energy. A woman exists because of time, because of fertility, because of growth and life cycles.
The moon cycle,
a man consciously is not as aware of his own time, but he is very aware.
Especially for the fact that women have a certain period of time to get pregnant, hence menstruations, whereas men pretty much have sperm until the day that they die, so they feel like they are immortal. Even though, like, yeah, a 90-year-old produces sperm, but like, it's trash sperm. I mean, it's always been trash, but it's really trash the older you get, because that shit's gonna have you with babies with 3 eyeballs. So, like, it really ain't it. But for the fact that women go through menopause, it's like men use that against you, like, haha, you can't have any more kids. But it's just kind of like, but who the fuck wants to have a kid at 55? Like, bye.
Aware of a woman's time. And he's not empathetic or respectful of the fact that a woman is also very aware of her time. If a woman was in an unloving relationship with her husband for a year, she would count every day. She would remember every day he didn't love her, every day he didn't want to have sex with her, every day he ignored her for somebody else. She would remember each day, and she would mourn the loss of those times, of those days. And if her and her husband worked out those relationship issues and everything got better, she would still mourn the loss of those days.
Ain't that what Jada was trying to tell you when she was divorcing Will and they have a new arrangement or whatever the fuck? Wasn't that what she was trying to tell you? And then I guess the part 2 of that was during the entanglement. She came out and she was like, well, basically, we had an arrangement, an agreement, entanglement, and this, that, and the third. And what she was saying, like, she didn't feel special. That's why she had the whole, like, porn addiction, and then she was out here doing some wild ass shit. Like, she felt like Will and her were growing apart. She's like, if I was on one west wing and you were on the east wing, it don't matter because we're in the same house, even if we're different people. And I think she was going through that process. And she still might be going through that process now. When you realize that your youthful years are behind you and all you want was permanent dick, and that permanent dick doesn't even fulfill you. At least when you were young, you had time, but now that you're old, no one wants you, and therefore you're discarded, and you're crying over the period of time that you lost, and like the double downness, that's a word, on the male phallus, and that's not even satisfying no more.
Where the husband would have forgotten they ever happened. Because, well, everything is great now. If the man cannot learn empathy for the woman's need of living each day, of having a good life within the time that she's allotted, he will end up being abusive to her. And even not understanding...
Isn't that what's going on with you, memes? Letting him walk all over you, has no empathy for your trauma and your pain, can't relate, everything is a motherfucking meme, right? Right? Your sons have no empathy for you. Not even your husband or your baby daddy, but the niggas you birth out your womb have no empathy for your plight. But you better bring your motherfucking baby boots. But bitch, we about to protest, and you gonna be right there too, catching bullets in the motherfucking dome. And these niggas don't even empathize with you. That has to be a mental illness.
Why she's all of a sudden depressed after 30 or going into 30. Because she's told by society that it's too late for her.
Yeah.
Women are manipulated right now into giving their husband babies.
And then once you hit 30, bitch, you don't matter. Like, right, your 20s is for your full line, hot girl and doing this and that and the third. But when you're 30, you're no longer valuable. So get your ass wiped up, have a couple of fucking motherfucking kids, drink wine every motherfucking work hour or every happy hour, and be content. Because no one wants you anymore. You no longer valuable. No one wants that tired ass pussy. Like, sit down. You're 30 now. Your whole life is over.
Now, I am not saying that not every woman is meant to have children right now. There will be some women who are in a position in their life to have children. Those women will be able to nurture their children, to be there with their children, and they will desire it. And they will be mothers.
If this was really a perfect world, that's the type of mom I would be. Like, I would be the type of mom, of course I would work for myself because, like, I like what I do, and it gives me purpose, and I like being my own boss. But I would still be the type of mom who would kind of do, like, regular schooling / homeschooling / like something else. I would love to travel and then travel with my kids. Like, let's say, I don't know, I have some type of like speaking engagement in France or some shit, and I'm gonna be in France. I want to be able to take my kid with me to France, and then like before or after my engagement, I would take them to like the museum. I would take them to like tourist spots, landmarks. I would take them to like historical places and whatnot. Of course, exploring, full of that, because we're like part-time vacation, but it's also educational. Like, if I was that mom, if I was really able to be nourished and watered in the way that I so desired, I would be a great mom. I would be such a great mom. I would be the mom who would like make different snacks after school. I'd be the mom at the parent association. I'd be the cool mom that everybody wants to come to my house and all the kids want to play. Like, I'd be that mom. I so could be that mom. But y'all don't allow me a space to be able to breathe and to be able to rest in my femininity with a man who's really about that emperor energy. For me to want to do that and be comfortable in doing that. So you're not going to give me God struggling and my wits end. No, the fuck not. And I'm very unapologetic about it. I think the women in my family are very like, you don't want to have kids? Oh my God, what would you do? And it's just like, because when you had kids, everything was great for you. Like, ma'am, bye.
Others. But there are women who don't desire that, who want to work, who want to choose immortality because they know that their time on earth is coming to an end.
And that's why I am a full-blown advocate for being a rich auntie. I could do that. I could do that now. I'm full-blown advocate of that, all right? I just want to live and live well. I want to be nourished. I want to be flourishing. I want to be watered. I want to be the fly-ass auntie. I want to be the rich-ass auntie. I want to come through, kiss, what you need, throw you a couple of stacks, give you some good-ass life lessons, and then hop on. I can do that. And that's not even a settle, like, so the mama option is not really an option. So, like, you're taking this lot in life. It's like, nah, bitch, both of them on 10. If I were to be somebody's mama in the manner that I just displayed or described, I'd be 100 at that. And if that's not a reality, being a rich auntie, I'd be 100 at that too. So it's really a win-win situation for me. That's just how I look at it, though.
And that maybe they can prolong it here because they are connected to the earth. Why would anyone force or manipulate or desire that they have a child when it's not what you need at the end of an age? If you want to create a new world, you will need the crone, and you will need the knowledge and the emotional energy of the mother. The mother does not always have to be that moment where you decide to be a mother. It's that point when you are making your beautiful creation from your own body. Why do you think?
Standing in your womanhood, it don't matter what it is, whether we're talking about passion projects, whether we're talking about a career, whether we're actually talking about birthing children. It's that feminine energy. It's whatever you give focus to, whatever that you love, that you nourish, even if it is your trash ass sons. All of that is standing in your womanhood, standing in your motherhood phase, because you're birthing something, even if it's not a whole ass human being. But some of y'all be birthing y'all's demons, and some of y'all be birthing y'all's murderers. So I don't know what that's about.
Why do you think men kick women out of their own clubs? Women shouldn't even want a part in a man's club because everything that man has done and structured is there to manipulate and brainwash feminine nature.
I'm going to jump into it, and I'm just going to jump right back out of it because I ain't got that type of time or energy. This is why you see trans women trying to get into biological women's spaces, but you don't see the equivalent of trans men bombarding into Masonic halls or Prince Mason halls or whatever that is, boys clubs. You don't see trans men doing that. Now, do you? But you do see it with trans women, don't you? Now, I'm going to leave it at that and I'm jumping right back off. We're moving on.
Women should be starting their own club, their own life source. Women should be a part of their own power. It's time for women.
Two more things, though. Not only don't trans men want to be a part of those situations, they don't demand that they should be. And they don't make their personal plight the plight of everybody else in these groups that they don't even have access to accessing. Again, jump right off. Jump right off.
Through their own consciousness, whether they want to reproduce because they feel they are in a good location to do that, they are in a good habitat to reproduce, or if they want immortality. And if women have already had children, if you're already in this depressed, sad place because you know that you did something that wasn't what your instincts wanted, it's not too late. There's ways to raise your children and to still create, but you have to wake yourself up, because I know what it feels like to reach your half-life and be nothing in the eyes of anyone. I felt that as a mother myself. And I love my children more than anything. And I also know deep down inside that instinctually, I wasn't meant to be a mother. I was meant to keep the earth alive. And that's why I'm here speaking on behalf of the earth and the woman.
Now that takes a lot of balls to say. A lot of balls. That's on some big clip energy. And that's really standing in your womanhood to say, like, I was not meant to be nobody's motherfucking mama, but I'm gonna be the best motherfucking mama that I can. And even in my mama energy, because none of y'all women, none of y'all girls are my children, but I'm giving you the message, woman to woman. Womb holder to the next womb holder. I'm sending this message. That's bad bitch energy. I have to say, that's bad bitch energy. And understanding where you stand in this placement on earth, as well as understanding that you made a decision that may have not been the best for you, but course correcting, and not on some, now I'm going to abuse my kids, or I'm going to cause them some type of trauma. It's like, no, I'm going to be the best mama that I can. But I know that I wasn't meant to be a mama. And for those who are like me, who aren't meant to be mamas, before you jump into this mama thing and then end up being a bad mama, like Brooke Shields' mama, protective and exploitive, here is the cheat code. So you don't even have to fall into what I did. Do better. And that's mad respectable.
Because I want us to stay alive. I don't want the evil to destroy us anymore. I want us to take our power back, our emotional nature, the way we are in touch with the roots of the earth.
Especially black women.
Women are being forced and coerced.
For the fact that y'all just discovered y'all are women. Some of y'all just discovered that you're women, and that like crying or being feminine or being soft isn't a weakness. So like that last part of really being in tune with your womanhood, with your emotions, with the earth, I feel like that applies to all women, but like triple, quadruple, trillion that for black women in particular. Because black women for a few centuries have been playing something of a middle being. Not a man, but not necessarily a woman. That is why a lot of these other groups would like to tell you, we are women like black women, as if being a black woman is not really a woman. But plot twist, we have the Eve gene, and the plot twist, the oldest skeletal remains of a woman was a black woman in Africa, and these white folks named her Lucy. I'm pretty sure she had an actual African name, but nonetheless, the oldest human being is a black woman. The pharmaceutical companies are making trillions of dollars off of the genetics of a black woman named Henrietta Lacks. So when you say we are women like black women, I'm like, Are you saying that you're the original? Because there's only one original, and that's not you. So, what are you implying?
Into hurting themselves, into doing things that does not make any sense to support the control and domination of an evil power outside of feminine energy. Why do women abuse their daughters? The answer is envy.
Daughters.
This is
Not
told
even
time and
children.
time again in different
Daughters.
fairy tales. The evil stepmother, the evil queen, the envy of the stolen youth. Men don't even have to hurt girls.
It's because women are because you've been there, done that. You're the crone, you're the mother, so you know how men look at young girls. You know the sly remarks because you've been there, done that. You've experienced it. So a lot of y'all who are unfulfilled as mothers or should have never been mothers, when you see your young girls getting that attention, your first thought isn't, let me support her, let me guard her, let me vet these men, let me poke his eyeballs out. Your first reaction is, you fucking whore, you fucking slut, cover up, you like boy attention, you're too fast.
Yo, woman. Why didn't you tell me, Mama? And God made Eve from the rib of Adam. And Eve was weak and loosed the raven on the world. And the raven was called sin. Say it. The raven was called sin. Why didn't you tell me, Mama? Say it. No. The raven was called sin. Oh, woman. And the raven was called sin. And first sin was intercourse. First sin was intercourse. I didn't sin, Mama. Say it. I didn't sin, Mama. First sin was intercourse. First sin was intercourse. First sin was intercourse. And the first sin was intercourse, Mama. I was so scared. I was dying, and the girls, they all laughed at me and threw things at me. And Eve was weak. Say it. No, Mama. Eve was weak. No. Eve was weak. No. Eve was weak. Say it. No, Mama. Say it. Eve was weak. Eve was weak. Curse. The curse was a curse of blood. You should have told me, Mama. You should have told me. Oh, Lord. Help the sinning woman see the sin of her days and ways. Show her that if she had remained sinless, the curse of blood would never have come on her. She may have been tempted by the Antichrist. She may have committed the sin of lustful thoughts. No, Mama. Oh, don't lie to me, Harriet. Don't you know by now I can see inside you? I can see the sin as surely as God can. We'll pray. No. We'll pray, woman. No. Pray for our lost sinning souls. God is visiting. Curse. This was the this was the second curse, and this was the curse of childbearing. And he brought both pain and sweat and blood. Genesis 3:16. Mama, please let me out, Mama, please.
Because, not even secretly, you want that male gaze, and you're jealous of your daughter getting that male gaze, even though she doesn't want it. But you see her as competition and not someone to protect. Even if you were violated, you still want the attention of men, even if it is at the expense of your daughters.
Oh, forgive me.
Don't apologize.
I don't know what I was thinking.
I've had a great time. Really, it's just too soon for me.
I understand. I understand.
Lydia. I'd love to see you again.
Yes, I'll see you at school.
To exploit them anymore when their mothers will. A woman who is a bad mother might always feel like she needs to be a mother to finally get the love that she needs. At first, she'll think that she's...
How many of y'all seen either single mothers, grown-ass single mothers, or these young-ass girls? I remember, shit, I used to watch more when I was a kid. When I wanted to skip school or whatever, but we're not even going to get into that. I remember seeing those episodes with those badass girls talking about they pregnant and they're young as fuck, or my parents can't tell me nothing, so they had to go to a little bootlegged ass boot camp to act right. A little bootlegged ass beyond scared straight. So when they do have the kids and they ask them like, why are you pregnant? Like, what happened? They always say like, I wanted someone to love me. This is gonna be my baby. Me and my boyfriend are gonna work it out. You know, no one's ever gonna leave me. We're gonna.
Imagine coming home from work early one afternoon to find your 15-year-old daughter in your bedroom, naked, having sex with a strange man in your room. In your room. Exactly what happened to my next guest, Vicky. Her 15-year-old daughter, Victoria, sexually active. And since then, Vicky claims Victoria has been on a mission to get pregnant and have a baby. She has even collected hundreds of baby outfits, baby books, and toys. But the pain for Vicky doesn't stop there, because 15-year-old Victoria bragged about having unprotected sex over 300 times. With 15 different men. Wow. I got to know what this is like. Because, quite frankly, this has never happened to me. What happens when you walk into your own bedroom and see your daughter naked having sex in your bed?
It's devastating. It breaks my heart, Maury.
What'd you say?
I told her to get up. What are you doing? Get up.
Who was the guy?
I don't know. I don't know.
What did she say?
She did get up. The first time she did get up. The first time she did get up.
What do you mean the first time?
I caught her about 3 times.
3 times?
3 times. The next time she got to where she didn't care about what I said or how I reacted, she just continued on and shut the door.
When you were cleaning out her closet, what'd you find?
A couple of weeks ago, I was cleaning up her room, and I cleaned out her closet. I found all baby things.
I mean, this is
I didn't even know that she had collected baby items.
What the heck is she doing?
I had no idea.
So you've accepted the fact that she's sexually active?
No.
Well, then you gave her birth control, didn't you?
I did put her on birth control. I did. I didn't accept the fact that she decided to be promiscuous, but I tried to get her help. I put her on birth control, and then she started putting it underneath her tongue. She would not swallow the pills. She's trying everything against me to have a baby.
And what'd you hear about in the school bathroom?
There was a rumor going around that 2 teenagers were caught in the junior high in the 8th grade having sexual intercourse in the restroom. And I never wanted to believe that it was my daughter. And I still don't know for a fact that it was my daughter.
What you can't stand is any of these public demonstrations on her part.
Exactly.
In fact, there's another rumor that she might have had sex in public.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It's just, she has to be having sex somewhere. And, she's not shy, or she flaunts her body.
She doesn't seem to be. This is what she had to say before the show. Watch.
My name is Victoria, and I'm 15 years old, and I don't care what my mama says, I'm gonna have a baby. I will do whatever it takes to take care of my baby. If it has to come out prostituting my body, then so be it. I'm gonna adopt my baby in all brand names, and if I can't support it, then I guess I'm gonna steal it. My mama thinks that I'm not ready to have a baby, but I have everything my baby will need. If my baby gets cold and it needs a blanket, it's alright, because I have it. And if my baby needs clothes, it's cool. I have tons of them. And if my baby needs the pacifiers, I have 3 more. I'm not just having sex with 1, not 2, but 3 different guys. That's right, I'm a player, but that's cool, because I got it like that. My life dream is to drop out of school, to be on Girls Gone Wild, and to have my baby. And there's nothing my stupid mother can say to change my mind. Would I go on with your life?
300 times?
Yup, I sure did. It's because I want a baby. I will do whatever it takes to get my baby too.
Oh, yeah?
I want the love and attention that all my girls have babies. They have babies. I have babies too.
You don't know what comes along with having a baby.
Oh, so you're going to have the love?
Yes, I do.
You're going to get the love and attention that a baby's going to give you.
Exactly. I'll do whatever it takes. So it really
How
doesn't
about
matter.
all this unprotected sex? How about all the diseases you're going to get?
I don't sleep with that. Mom, I know you think that I have never had sex in public places, but I just wanted you to know that I have had sex in public over 100 times. I've had sex in the park, in the mall, on the playground, and even on the staircase of a building.
You know how that your mother goes nuts when she hears that.
You don't care about what people think about you.
It doesn't matter what people think about me. I am who I am. That's all there is to it. No? Mom, I know you heard a rumor going around that a girl was having sex at school. Well, just to let you know, that girl is me, and I loved every minute of it, and there's nothing that you could do to stop me.
Tori, tell me that's a lie, Tori. Tell me that's a lie. You didn't have sex in school.
Yeah, I did.
Why would you have sex in school? Why would you have sex in school? You want to have a reputation there as well as in the street?
So be it. So be it. So like now, why does it matter? Why do y'all care?
Oh, we'll find out. I care.
And it's usually on some codependency shit. It's usually on this baby is going to give me what I need. And it's like, no, it's not. Babies, as cute as they are, as gentle as they are, as soft as they are, as beautiful as they are, they're parasitic as fuck. All right? They can't do shit for you. Not a goddamn thing. They need everything. They literally exist based off of your labor. So with the thinking of I'm going to have a kid to love me in a manner that other people didn't love me, you're going to grow to resent the kid because the kid is just that, a kid.
At first, she'll think that she's getting it from her husband, but a husband doesn't give it to her the way she needs it, especially if she has a baby.
Mm-hmm.
He is going to...
And then y'all start thinking that you can brainwash or conform or make your kid your little puppeteer, and you realize that that's not gonna last forever, as well as they are more of a burden than they are your emotional baggage carrier or your puppet, and then you start to resent them because kids can only, yes ma'am, no ma'am, you so many times, especially if the fact that you didn't have them from a genuine place to begin with. You had them out of your trauma, out of your fears, out of whatever. And then once these kids no longer are able to meet your expectation, y'all just discard them because you never wanted them to begin with. You never wanted them from a healthy place. It was really about your own ego and your own baggage. And it shows not only in how these kids ultimately end up in life, but it also shows with how you treat kids. You always know the kids who are mistreated, not just by the way that they look and their upkeeping, but the way that the parent doesn't show up in the child's life or shows up just to ridicule, harass, angry, berate the kid, basically antagonize the kid. We see this all the time.
Treat her differently now. She's no longer that beautiful maiden conquest that he tamed. Mm-hmm. Because men have a desire to structure and chain wild energy. It's part of their masculine nature, where feminine is wild, and that's why they go after her, and they chain her down, and then they don't care because the conquest has been decided in marriage.
Yeah, that's what you train up. You can't be free. Like, Cindy Lauper. Girls, they wanna have fun. Oh, girls just wanna have, women just wanna have fun. Girls just wanna fool out loud. Like, that's why it's always a good time when women come through. When men come through, it's wild. It's wild. But when women come through, it's light, it's airy, it's fun, because we just have that energy. Women energy is truly wild from everything about us. And that's what drives men wild, because they can't tame us. And if they can't tame us through brutality and violence, then they tame us through slut shaming and religion and these societal tropes, even these femininity tropes. It's all a way of making you heal, making you submit, making you conquered. And women don't see that. And I'm not saying this in the sense of never get married, this and the third. I like marriages. I like people committing to people. I like that. But make sure you get in something out of the deal and make sure that something is worthwhile, as well as don't ever lose yourself in a marriage. Don't lose yourself in a man. Don't lose yourself in a kid. Always be true to yourself. And I think that's what a lot of women have a hard time figuring out and balancing. Like, a man's life is a man's life regardless of marriage, regardless of kids. There are men whose schedule, whose agenda, whose planner has not changed since he got out of his mama's house. He does whatever the fuck he won't do, including not a goddamn thing. But it's the woman whose life changes throughout the season, from getting into a relationship, from being married, from having kids, from menopause, like phases of the moon cycle, right? We have phases and they're clearly seen in the visible world. Whereas men, their lives don't really change that much. And it's the women who cry over the fact that they've given something, they sacrificed something. Men don't. They don't give up anything to be a husband, to be a father. And a lot of y'all, brain off on the plug twice when it comes to your responsibilities as daddy. But women cannot.
And once she has his baby, she is no longer a sexual object for him. She is the host for his seed, so that he can pass on his name and his story. So when a woman has a little boy and he shows up with his masculine energy, she is more inclined, not always, but more inclined to love him because she knows he loves her back. She will want him to be a man, conquer the world.
How many of y'all, women to women, we could talk about it, whose mama was basically like they wanted sons or they didn't want a daughter or they would have preferred a son, or you saw them treat their male children a whole lot better than they treated you? Yeah.
World and make her proud, he will have her heart. But what of the girls? And especially, what of the oldest girl?
She loved him just on GP of being a boy or being a man or being a male. And he still turns out to be ain't shit. Because it doesn't matter how much... I'm not going to finish that sentence the way I wanted to because, But it doesn't matter how much you stroke his ego. You didn't show him that he needed to earn it. He needed to work for it. That he needed to empathize with you. You just gave it for free, for cheap. And now look at y'all. Your sons want to excuse your trauma and your pain. They validate the humiliation and the trauma story that you have. Because you didn't make your sons earn it. You didn't make your sons work for it. Just like y'all didn't make your baby daddies work for it. And now they make you butts of jokes on a global scale. Because you didn't want to stand in your womanhood and undo that baggage.
The first daughter from a woman who has lost her maiden abilities, who has become the moon. Not the moon in which way that the earth wants her to be at this day and age, but the way that the masculine has already decided for. When she gets her baby, and that baby is a girl, there is a literal quote that says that baby girls steal their mother's beauty. This is a common idea, a common knowledge. A little girl desires love.
I'm the firstborn of both my parents, correct? Yes. Yes. Yeah, for the most part, from what I know, yeah. Black daddy stories. Anyways, yeah, when you are the firstborn girl, you have the burdens of the world. Yeah, you have the burdens of the world, especially if you have siblings and like y'all live in the same home. You become a pseudo mama. I've heard stories of young, not even just young, just black women and black girls in general who are like, yeah, I have to help out my mother and I have to do this X, Y, and Z. And on a, I guess, grander scheme, it's honorable, it's respectable, but it's really none of your business. It's really not what you got to do. And it's evil to put children in that position because that's not their lot in life. That's not what they're supposed to do. That's why you're supposed to work out your shit before you have kids, because the kids are inherit your fuck shit. They bear the consequence when you don't undo your shadow, and it's evil how y'all do it when it comes to girls. Y'all just evil. It's criminal the way that y'all inflict your shit onto girls.
Just like her mother. So when she's born, she's not up here giving the mother love. And because the mother had her daughter,
and she looks at the girl as competition, the boy is supposed to be a pseudo husband. The boy is supposed to make her feel good and make her feel worthy because she has somewhat of a male gaze, even if it's underdeveloped. But that's mama's boy. That's mama's man. But if you're a girl, mom's not a lesbian. As well as your competition. You're younger, you're prettier, you're more desired. And therefore the ops. So I'm going to treat you like Cinderella, no fairy godmother, and I'm going to be as evil as the Wicked Witch, because at the end of the day, patriarchy.
For that love that she craves, as she lost it from her husband, she never got it from her own mother, who was also broken, and she probably never got it from her father. She then demands that her daughter loves her. Now her daughter is going to rebel against this.
Eventually, because if the daughter doesn't start off, being the mother's pseudo-husband, by the time they become that preteen, teenage era, and it's not even like a rebellion against the mother as opposed to like you're a teenager, so it just comes with the era. So you're just gonna be that way, but it's going to hit even harder because this person is not just your daughter, but she's your pseudo-husband. So then that's where the infighting comes, because it's like, I didn't want you to begin with, and now you are defying me? You're not being my puppet? Why, bitch? We'll see who runs it here. We'll see who's queen bee here. And that's real.
A young girl, a maiden, is rebellious, is wild, is still not tamed. Her spirit is free. So the mother,
and since the man is not there to give that order, she becomes the one to give order to the girl. So she becomes that brutal, patriarchal, rape and pillage, defiling as well as typecasting and putting your femininity into a box. She occupies that space now. Mother dearest.
Envy of her daughter's maiden youth, the youth that no longer can she make back because she has now moved into the next step. Her body is different, her consciousness is different, her life path is now set, and she knows that she is going to die soon. The world is going to stop caring about her, and she blames the daughter. Usually she's very jealous of...
Because that's how patriarchy has it. You're young, you're cute, teenage years, mid-20s, but that mid-20s and onward until, like, let's say mid-30s, you're supposed to be done with the hot girl thing, with the piping thing, with the male gaze thing, like simmer down. And then the mother phase, that's when you're supposed to find purpose and solitude in serving a man, birthing a man, cooking for a man, fucking a man, cleaning after a man, things like that. And then in the crone years, you should just be content with being granny. And that's life as a woman. How you can best serve men and breed.
Her husband or boyfriend's love of the daughter. Usually that envy can go into a place where some women allow the men in their lives to abuse the daughters. Sometimes it makes...
Remember Shania Davis? She ain't the only story, but that's one of the most recent stories, right? On a national stage. What happened? Her ain't shit ass mama allowed her ain't shit ass boyfriend to rape and murder her. And she was there and she helped him clean up and everything. Even lied on his behalf. Why? Because you have to have the male gaze. Who are you without a man? And no one wants to be a bitter, rejected, used, pumped and dumped baby mama. So you gotta find yourself a man. Even if he's into kids. You're a kid.
Tension and war between the husband and wife in a way that the wife will then manipulate the husband into loving the daughter less, making the daughter have a worse connection with her father.
How many mothers and wives are jealous of the relationship between the father and the daughter, especially if she's daddy's little girl? And she's proud to be a daddy's little girl. You'll see wives and mothers who are just like, that's my husband, back off. They don't say it, but that's the energy. And it's like, ma'am, it's not the right answer. Try again. It's not the right answer.
Or the mother perpetuating the daddy issues.
Truth be told, if you were standing in your womanhood, you would allow them to have that little bonding moment, and then you would have took your ass on to getting a mani-pedi or a back massage. You would have took his credit card and went to the mall, if they still have malls. You would have done something with that time because she's preoccupied, he's doing daddy duty, you off. Go do something with yourself.
That then create the exploitation of self in adulthood, not really knowing what it's like to have the love of a man in your life. And if this isn't happening, there is another form of abuse, and that is using the daughter as a crutch, an emotional crutch, because the woman is grown now and doesn't feel like she is enough, as previously explained. She feels like she needs someone and her husband is not there. She emotionally uses her daughter to support her, basically making every little girl a calf raised for slaughter, an energy bucket for which to drink from. There's a feeling in the daughter that her mother would like her dead, but
vulnerable narcissists. A lot of mothers be like that, where they are histrionic, right? They just want so much of your time, so much of your energy, right? For reference, Carrie's mom, right? Why is everybody laughing at me? Her mother, perfect example of a bad mother, as well as a mother who just wants to take and take from the daughter. If she can't kill you physically, she'll kill you emotionally and psychologically, because she wants what you have, which is time and youth and the male gaze. And that's more valuable to her than anything else. That's why she would tell you at 6th grade that pussy, that's the real prize. Not the mind, not your ambitions, not your talents, not your skills, but your vagina. In the 6th grade.
But the daughter must serve her to stay alive, to deserve her life. And so she will do things to please her mother, and her mother will see that and exploit it further. An abusive mother who might hit her daughter, call her names, make her feel worse about herself. It's a woman who feels all that pain in her own life, and therefore needs to project it onto the second coming of her own body, as she is flesh of her flesh. The mother will try to destroy all.
And if you think on it on a deeper level, like, it runs through the bloodline as well, because my granny had my mother and my mother had me, all within the womb, all within the eggs of a woman. So when you hit that trauma, when you abuse a woman, when you kill a woman, when you traumatize a woman, when you harm a woman, it doesn't only affect her. It at least affects 3 generations down. I wonder if men thought about it on that deeper level, if it would hit a little bit deeper. knowing that abusing his mother or the women in his life is going to directly impact him on a genetic level to the point that it will impact his own offspring. Maybe, just maybe, just maybe, just a little bit, just maybe.
All sense of life from her beautiful daughter as she blames her beautiful daughter for doing it to her. This is deep
passing the buck.
Envy. This is the saddest part about the world of mother and daughter relationships. That the mother is so wounded, she doesn't give her daughter a better life. She gives her daughter a worse life. And thus creates a cycle.
Generational broken families, generational poverty, generational sexual abuse. Shall I go on?
Of more and more emotional, mental abuse. And they wonder why your mother is the first person to break your heart. The mother was meant to be that warm, nurturing energy to her daughter. You see,
your mother was supposed to be that safety
was
blanket.
Probably never meant to have a daughter. She was manipulated.
I knew that about my mama.
Used and exploited to a sense that she felt that that was the next step in her life.
But there's another element I think she talks about in the video of an element of like a death within daughters when they realize that this is the lot that you have received in this life, as well as the truth of like your mother wasn't meant to be a mother, and like the psychological shadow side shit. That is a process in and of itself that hardly gets talked about, but like, ooh, the layers need to be peeled. Not in this video, but we need to talk about that in society. Maybe Jada will have a red table talks. I don't know. But she do though. You feeling to call me? You feeling to demon me? Because we could talk about this.
And sometimes maybe even believed that if she had a child, she could make her man stay.
How many of y'all had babies that you regret that you didn't even want because you thought he's gonna keep that man? He's gonna marry me. As if men don't leave women with babies all the time. But y'all do that goofball shit of I'm gonna control him through the womb. And it's you who tie your own feet. Because it's you who birthed the kid. It's you who raised the kid. It's you who take the kid home. He may or may not even be in the delivery room. Y'all play yourselves with this shit. And then you get mad at everybody else for playing that role. You see this shit don't work out with your mama. You see this shit didn't work out with your cousin. You see this shit didn't work out with your auntie, your nieces, and so on and so forth. But you play the same dumbass game instead of standing in your womanhood.
Another form of manipulation. It wasn't the daughter's fault, but the daughter takes the brunt of the abuse. Because the daughter is the one that proved the mother was wrong about what she really wanted out of life. And what does a woman want out of life? What does the moon, the mother, desire? A deep emotional connection to another person. Non-toxic, energetic exchange.
That's why women like all that cuddling, all up in your face, the morning text, want to wear your sweats. Because we fucking like you. Duh.
Sexual intimacy with someone who loves her. Someone wants to explore her body and love every part of it. She wants someone to see that she is beautiful in every stage of her growth and her time here on earth. She wants the love and the affection and the glory that all beautiful living things want. A woman's sexual peak is when she comes into her moon years. When I say sexual peak, I mean it's because she's now allowed to explore her body. She carries no more shame.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Right? Women now, because the era that we lived in, but not too long ago, women were okay with not having orgasms. Women were okay with not getting their clitoris stimulated. Women were okay with just being a whole. Just being a whole. And now women's like, oh, no, I want my feet sucked. You know, I like the kiss right there. You know, what spot on me he knows here. Hot boy. Like, now we getting into something. Now we like, this is the way I like it to be rubbed. Like, now we comfortable saying what we wanted to say. But if you think about it, it took centuries, decades for women to be like, you know, I like sex too. Like, we just came into being comfortable ourselves, and a lot of times women have to reach the age of mother, not necessarily having a kid, but in those mother years to be like, no, that's not even the way I like it. It's like this. Let me come teach you. Like, now we're comfortable doing that, but we really should have been comfortable off of GP, because like, how many women done did a little extra, did a little strange things just to make them happy, but you still didn't get yours off? That's not a trade-off. That sucks.
She doesn't want to have to dress or adorn herself to feel loved. She knows that she is loved because she is the moon. Because she's emotionally deep, and she knows that she heals through her body. And so she doesn't need to perform to get attention. She stands there and she is loved and penetrated and cared for and seen. All the woman wants to be is seen and heard. But she's invisible. The maiden is the rose opening, just like the moon is the womb. The womb of life. The mother is the deep creator.
Whoever
if
has
the mother
that
was
type of
allowed
view
to create,
is
to
blessed.
make things from within herself, she would put her everything into that and expand the world in ways we've never seen, because women are not allowed to do that.
Has nothing to do with anything, but I really want to see the Northern Lights. Like, oof. That has to be a spiritual healing moment. Just being in the presence of it. But that's all I had to say.
There is a strong desire for that woman to create that family line, that royal bloodline. In fact, most women will know that they might have a hard time gaining the favor of their spouse's family until they have a child.
Everybody hates Raymond? Did they have kids? I don't know. I wasn't an avid watcher. But like, yeah, girlie had to kiss all of the crevices of Raymond's mama, and she still threw shade. Like, a lot of y'all be dealing with in-lines. Y'all be dealing with mamas who really don't know their place. I'm really getting Miss Deb type of tease. Some of y'all dealing with mamas who treat you like you're insignificant, like you don't matter. I'm getting Erica Dixon tease. Like, y'all really be dealing with mothers who be trying your motherfucking necks, but you still deal with it because that's his mother. Not me.
Which woman would want to understand this? A woman, a mother who already has children, needs to wake up to this energy. So she,
especially for the fact that you see these women who do this above and beyond. My son. They tend to be without men. Like, not married to a man, not dating a man, not satisfied by a man. They've been manless so long that in their minds and their heads, on a subconscious level, their sons is their husband, are their husbands, and they think y'all are sister-wise. You, the new girlfriend, the wife, the whatever. On a subconscious level, she thinks y'all sharing him. And that's incestuous and twisted as fuck. But you see this a lot of times with women who ain't got a man, ain't satisfied in her life and her career, ain't had a man, with just manless and inspirationalist. That's a word. She's manless and or inspirationalist. So she has no inspiration, no motivation, has nothing going on for her damn self, and she got no man. So she makes her life's mission to be her son's favorite woman.
But she's not an abusive villain herself.
Which is why he can never be the man you want him to be for you, because he's preoccupied of being the man that he needs to be for his mama. He can't be, well, you know, niggas love having sister wives, baby mama shit, but he can't be married to his mama and be married to you. Something gotta give. And because she's mama, oftentimes you play your role as second best. I don't know how y'all do it, but that cannot be me.
But a loving, caring, nurturing mother, because that is the role she chose, whether or not she was manipulated or exploited before to get there. And she will make the world better for her daughter, and she will give her daughter better choices and better chances. But the mother who does do this will get a second chance at life, because we will no longer be stuck to this time of aging, but we will rise up as women, as mothers, as the moon, and be the light in the darkness for every single person, man or woman, to show them what we can create and what we can make, to show them that we don't need to resent our children, to unconsciously want to hurt them because they hurt us. We will let go of the fear, and we replace that fear with a new lease on life, and we will desire to get to know what is deep down inside of us that we no longer suppress.
And a lot of times women associate their womanhood or coming into womanhood via their association with men or boys, whether their first time that they lost their virginity, the first time they got their heart broken, their first little puppy love relationship. It's usually your womanhood is tied into what's your association with a man or a boy.
We will nurture ourselves and our bodies, and we will learn to love the way that they are in every stage of life. We will take control over our lives and understand that we are whole and we need nobody. And that if we are in a relationship with anyone, that we don't need them, we want them. She wants it. And that she can admit that she wants it because everything she needs, she already has. And she can go back into her power. And when she's in her power...
Because when you want someone, that's completely different than needing them. A lot of women need men. There's a very few amount who want them. And those are the men who are trash. Really, really hate because they don't need them. They are self-sufficient. They have enough esteem. They are successful in their own route. They are that bitch. And men who aren't men are very disturbed when you are sitting in your Empress energy, because it's like, what can you do? What can you do? You can't do nothing. You can't. So I'm going to eat at her insecurities. I'm going to beat her down. I'm going to berate her. I'm going to find something to knock her down a peg. Because, you know, bitches ain't shit but hoes and tricks.
And she's not energetically drained by people who just want her emotional energy. She will make things. She will invent things.
Ain't that right, Meg? Tory shot you because he ain't you. And that's his jealousy.
She will innovate. And she doesn't need the sun to shine on her to still be. That's what we call the new moon. And we need a new moon at the new age. And just because the sun stops shining on women and mothers and forgets them for younger models, doesn't mean that the women can fight back, not through yelling and anger, but through their labors and their creation and their hard work and showing their power all at once so that nobody can deny them what is rightfully theirs. And that's this world.
Facts. Women do run the world, but oftentimes women play as if like they're the pawns when really you're the queen. Ain't in checkers like once you get the queen, that's it, you lost. Why? Because women, and I guess the game of chess are like, you know, what keeps the kingdom alive. You know, you want to protect the queen. But in real life, without women, you got nothing. You don't have women, you can't have children, therefore society dies off, correct? So y'all keep hating and killing and just destroying women. You're just going to have an environment where there's all men. And we know all men all the time is why motherfucking Greek and Rome fell. So, that's this video. This is part 2. Hopefully y'all enjoyed it with my commentary. I know I made it extra long. The original video was like 20 minutes, but you know, I'm a motor mouth in this bitch. So I had to add my commentaries. Hopefully y'all felt me on that. If y'all agreed or anything or disagreed on anything, let it be known. We can discuss it. But then again, I don't do back and forth. I'm not gonna argue with nobody. Argue with y'all's mamas. Argue with y'all's baby mamas. Don't argue with me because I ain't got that type of time or energy. But you can leave whatever the hell you want to leave it in the comment section. It is what it is. It's a free country. Unless YouTube deletes it because they on that fuck shit too. And come back for part 3 next week. We'll be talking about the crone, the sage, the wise woman, the witch. So come back for part 3 and we will discuss. And if you want to, you could watch part 3 now because it's actually available. But thank you for coming through for this reaction. I appreciate y'all for stopping through.
In closing, thank you to the listeners for tuning in. You can find Black Woman Vibes podcast on Facebook page, Black Woman Vibes, Instagram, Black Woman Vibes, Twitter, Black Woman Vibes, YouTube channel, Black Woman Vibes. Please like, follow, and share content. And don't forget to join the tribe of Black Woman Vibes. Also head over to Facebook and Patreon to join the exclusive tribe and get access to content from members of Black Woman Vibes. On Patreon is where we openly have conversations behind the scenes that helps us as sisters grow and level up. Each one teaches us all, from live streams, advisor emails, speaking engagements, and consultation services. All can be found on Black Woman Vibes Patreon and Facebook. Isn't it time for Black women to live and live well? Be the best version of yourself by mastering yourself. I'll be back next Wednesday for a whole new episode of Black Woman Vibes. With all that being said, be blessed, be enlightened, be loved. I am your hostess with the mostest. So let's get to toasting. VC Nay, logging off. Peace.